G'day everyone, I'm Smokescreen and welcome back to another video, and here we go with the season finale of the FIA Manufacturer Series that was currently going on in Gran Turismo Sport, and we're back at a familiar combination. The finale of the previous season was actually this same combination, Tokyo Expressway South Inner Loop in Group 3. It was at the night time of day, we're in the sort of dusk evening, late evening here, but it is the same combo, Group 3 on the Tokyo Expressway South Inner Loop. Group 3, so we of course have the Toyota Supra under us, which was actually the fastest car on the time trial leaderboard, so we have no excuses. We go out for qualifying, and it turned out to be a bit of a slipstream fest, so I decided to slow down and see if I could get the slipstream off anybody overtaking. Two people go past there, so I'm like, right, let's go, let's get the slipstream off the back of the Porsche, who in turn has the slipstream off the back of the McLaren. I want to go around for a lap of Tokyo Expressway South Inner Loop here in the slipstream. Very crucial. So have a look at all the straights here. Main straight after turn 1 is a straight, after turn 6 is a straight, after turn 11 is a straight, and then back onto the main straight again at the end of the lap. So we're just going to follow in the slipstream. It's crucial to have the double slipstream, because otherwise you're going to catch yourself up to the back of the car you're slipstreaming, which wouldn't be ideal. It's going to slow you down, and I think in fact that this Porsche has dropped out the back of the slipstream from the McLaren. And we can see here, we were catching up going into turn 2 and then coming up in through the high-speed chicane down the back straight that's not really straight at all. We catch right up to the back of him. We're going to be bumping him down the straight, so we should be able to gain overall. And then coming through the twisty final sector here, the McLaren gets in the way and slows us all up, running the back of the Porsche, and that is absolutely detrimental on a qualifying lap. And we'll see at the end, it puts us absolutely nowhere with a 56.9, with still the majority of the field, in fact, to come across the line for their first qualifying run. You can see we're in 15th momentarily. I'm pretty sure by the end of this lap, we drop down to the bottom of the field with this 156.9. So we come out again, and we're going to go for our qualifying lap on our own this time, and I feel like if there is no sort of visual distraction, I can do a lot better. So I'm going to point out my braking points. Coming into turn 1, it's the 50 meter board. Down into 5th, you probably choose 4th. I was choosing 4th at the end of the night to get a bit more rotation, but we get through there nicely. Coming up into turn 2, it's halfway between the 100 and the 150 meter boards for turn 2. Meet the first apex, second apex, turn 3. Coming in towards turn 4, and then turn 5 is the left-hander, leading out onto this another little bit of a straight. Coming into turn 6, you're looking on the left-hand side for your braking point in between the 50 and where the sort of flashing lights and the arrow sign on the left-hand side of the track starts, halfway between the 50 meter board and that. And then we've got the back straight. Use the whole width of the track, just minimise your tyre scrub. For the hairpin, it's just halfway between the 100 and 150 meter board, probably closer to the 150 meter board compared to turn 2. But we get through there nicely. Second or first gear, depending on how much tyre wear you have. Coming up towards here, turning in just on the corner marker. Lovely. Lift off the throttle as you do. Looking on the right hand side, just as that barrier changes, downshift into 4th and turn in. Balance the car through here, and then looking for the 50 meter board down into 4th. Again, meet that apex nicely, over slow for that one and get the power out to the exit. It's quite a tight exit compared to the speed of the corner, so you can easily understeer into the barrier. Coming across the line, 55.6. So I was doing qualifying runs in practice and I went faster than a 55.6, and you can see it puts me 10th. I knew I could get a 55.4 and probably a 55.3, and that would have put me about 4th, 5th region. So ultimately, not so happy with that. But as always, let's enjoy the introduction. Lovely as always. We meet the cars on the grid and it's different. The cars are so close together. We're in grid boxes. This is a standing start, and this kind of sets this race apart from a lot of the other races in this season. A lot of the races were rolling starts. We got a standing start on a street circuit. This is not good. And it's also not good because I'm in the Supra, and we're going to see what we mean. So it's a false start check, so the start procedure, traction control 1, handbrake, and then wait for the 5 red lights to go out. As they do there, we release, and the car bogs down big time. Such long gearing, or long first gear at least, for the Supra. Bogs down so much, but someone ran into the back of us, which was fine. But coming into turn 1, hit the brakes early, and we get slammed into the barrier, and yeah, we get absolutely slammed by the pack. And look at this, it's an absolute mess, and it's going to continue all the way down the straight, up towards turn 2, and we're now unfortunately on the wrong side for turn 2. Kind of want to be on the supreme inside, because cars are going to be diving on the racing line, and we're on the racing line, so we're right in the line of fire. Car comes up the inside, another car, and everyone's off, and I'm punted off. Bumped off the track, I'm down into 19th momentarily, but someone's binned it. A couple more people slow and sort of mucking it up. Coming through here into the back of the BMW. Oversteer on the exit, we're down in 18th. Oh my goodness, what a disaster. Oh man, so this race is, you can tell the start is crucial, and because I've got a car that's so bad off the start, I just get mugged, and it puts me on the back foot throughout all of the sort of first half of the first lap, and now I've got the whole horde of cars in front of us. Fantastic. But then coming down the straight, at least, we catch up to the BMW, and we don't even think about not going for this move there. We get right past as we go up to turn 10, run into the back of the Aston Martin. Coming in towards the hairpin, more dives to happen here. Is anybody binned it on the exit here? No, a couple of people wide and deep though, but yeah, ultimately no positions to be gained. There are 2 penalties that are going to get served, however. 3 seconds for Kiwi and 1.5 seconds for the guy, BLK NTH guy in the BMW up ahead. He's got 1.5 seconds penalty to serve as well. This track only has 1 penalty zone, and it's actually not that bad. It's halfway between turn 5 and 6, so it's only on that tiny bit of a straight, but it's coming in towards a pinch point turn 6. It would probably make more sense to have the penalty serving line on the exit of turn 1, because you've got a longer straight, so it's more of a penalty, and it's sort of a bit more open portion of the track where you can afford to have cars going differing speeds on different lines, and turn 2 is very open, so there's a lot more room for differing speeds. But it's not where the penalty line is, it's turn 6, so at the end of the day a penalty isn't that detrimental. It's still obviously not ideal, or I wouldn't call it ideal anyway, but we have to avoid the penalty still, at least. Go for the dive on the Aston Martin, who I felt brake very early. We meet the apex, a little bit of contact, but not to worry there. And then, yes, we've got to see the Jaguar drop off with a 3-second penalty. There's a BMW up ahead that I know is serving a penalty as well. Let's see if we can get 2 positions out of it. 1 and then 2. Sorry, it was a Porsche serving the penalty, and a McLaren, and the BMW. So there's about 4 penalties being served there. Not good, but you can see we get hung out of the slipstream a bit, but someone gives us a nice bump around the outside of turn 7, which is nice. It's turn 7, turn 8 is this right-hander, and then turn 9 and 10 are coming up with the high-speed chicane. Here in the slipstream of the BMW, turn 9 up the inside, around the outside of turn 10, and we just get edged into the barrier. Not really much anyone could have done there. Very dangerous place to go too wide. But coming into the hairpin, we're on the wrong side. BMW's up the inside, but goes very deep, and we get another bit of a tap, bump the back of the Porsche, and we get mugged by the McLaren. It's all kicking off here, and we're just stuck in the back of the field fighting. So not right. We're fighting in this race, and we haven't even discussed the strategy. Probably rightly so, because the strategy absolutely sucks. You've got 2 tyres available, soft and medium, but it's a no-stop on the medium. The medium is the mandated tyre, the soft isn't, so you don't need to do a pit stop, and just as well that we don't. The pit stop loss is now massive in this game, as we are well aware of, and I don't know why they've done that, but they've absolutely, quite frankly, cocked that up big time. So now there's no strategy in the race. So we're on a tight street circuit. Everyone's going to be on worn tyres from about lap 10 onwards. We're going to be stuck behind slower people, and there's nothing that we can do except try and get past cleanly. But normally you could pit and get onto a faster tyre and get into clear air, and you could gain positions that way. But that is now off the table, because ultimately if you pit, you end up about 20 seconds off the back of the field, which is completely unrealistic for this track, because the pit lane is very, very short. It's like the outside of the hairpin, and that's about it. And the pit box is about 20 metres away from where you enter the pits, and yet it takes you 20 seconds to traverse that distance. It's a bit stupid, and I definitely think they obviously were sitting in the office thinking, oh, we need to make these pit stops more realistic. Let's make them longer like they are in real life. But the key factor, the races in real life are so much longer. You've got more time to gain back your pit loss. In this game, you've got 20 minutes for a whole race, and if you lose 20 seconds, there's no way you're gaining 20 seconds in 10 minutes. It's just unrealistic and stupid. I think the pits were fine before. It's also a key example of something nobody asked for. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But as we've been talking there, it's all kicked off, as it has at the beginning of this race. BMW spins off, I nearly spin off, we end up behind the McLaren in 14th, heading up the hill, coming in towards the S's section. We almost bump the back of the McLaren. In fact, we do bump the back of the McLaren, and he makes his way through. Dirty air through here is not ideal. We're understeering everywhere, once again taking a massive chunk out of the tyres, which we can't afford. This race was definitely designed, in terms of the tyre multiplier, it was designed to have a pit stop in it, but it's just quicker to not do a pit stop and deal with your worn tyres. So the Aston Martin gets past, coming up towards turn 1, and I just don't fight that one. Side by side through turn 1 is basically a ticket to lose bucket loads of time. But I'm going to get into the slipstream. I'm actually going to bump in, because I can see the pair up ahead, and they're just up the road a bit, about a second ahead, so they're just out of slipstream. But I know if I work together with this guy, we can perhaps catch up, although I do go for this move here, I believe. Yeah, I do. Perhaps I should have stayed behind, but I think at the time I felt as though I definitely could have set the pace a lot better by myself at the front in clear air. I can use the downforce to help the Supra stick to the road, and we know it's a very oversteery machine, so I do want that downforce there. So I thought I could, I felt like I was more capable of keeping up with the pair up ahead, as long as I was ahead. And if I was getting bumped by the Aston Martin down the straight, which is very strong down the straight, mind you, that could probably gain us more time compared to if I was behind the Aston Martin, because that Aston Martin is not so great in the corners. So if I can set the pace through the corners and get the speed of the Aston Martin down the straight, happy days, lovely. Bit of contact with the barrier up ahead, that's not good, so they lose about a tenth, just over a tenth. But coming in towards the hairpin, I do go defensive from the Aston Martin, because I haven't gained the trust of the Aston Martin that he's actually going to stay behind me yet. So I am at this stage fighting a little bit with him. I want to be ahead of the Aston Martin. It's just painful whenever he drives past, because I know he's crap in the corners. The Aston Martin's not great in the corners, so I'm just going to catch up to the back of him. You can see once again, in line with that, I go for the move at turn 2, Aston Martin around the outside, or at the outside, I go up the inside, and the pair up ahead is about 1.5 seconds, so I know we've got to start working together soon, and I want to be ahead when we start working together. It might be difficult for the Aston Martin driver to kind of accept the fact that I'm going to be ahead for a little while, but I think we see at this point, as we fast forward down here, look down on the radar, Aston Martin staying behind. I think he's beginning to get the message here. He's staying behind. I take the racing line just to give him a chance, and he doesn't go for the move. So I think at this point I'm beginning to trust this guy. I'm beginning to think, look, I think this Aston Martin is going to stay behind. And we see an example here. I do try to go defensive here, but he bumps into the back of me. I give him a flash of the hazards, I believe. Do I? Don't think I do. Oh, I should have given him a flash of the hazards just to say thank you very much for that. Coming up here again, he once again bump drafts the back of me, and then coming into turn 2, look down on the radar. Aston Martin gets dived. We were working together nicely, 1.1 seconds behind the McLaren, and he ends up getting dived, and I once again in turn get dived by the exact same BMW. Kind of runs a bit wide off the corner, but I suppose he's entitled to go for that move. It was a clean move at the end of the day. It's just annoying because he's kind of come in as a third party and sort of ruined myself and the Aston Martin's race. So I go up the inside. I don't want to be stuck behind this BMW because I can tell he's a bit divey. And then the Aston Martin re-overtakes the BMW as well if you're looking down on the radar, coming in towards turn 2. Then coming up into the hairpin, coming into the braking zone, bump, bump, and I'm off the track. Thank you very much, BMW. So that was the BMW in 12th. He's sliding all over the track. That was him. Came up and ran into the back of the Aston Martin, who ran into the back of me. We end up both behind the Aston Martin. So coming up into here, he's got 1, 2, soon to be 3 cars up the inside. I knew what had to be done.
Good, Anakin, good. Kill him. Kill him now. Do it.
Yeah, whoops. Oops, sorry, mate. Yeah, no, I didn't see ya. Didn't see ya. You hate to see it. But there we go. So, I just... I don't know, I think maybe let my frustration get the better of me there, but I knew what had to be done. He literally came in and ruined my race, because I was... We were... Myself and the Aston Martin were quite well catching up to... 2 further positions up ahead, which are now way ahead of the track. There's going to be no chance to catch both those positions back up now. So yeah, thanks BMW for ruining my race, but I suppose we're going to have to move on. The race was kind of ruined at turn 1 when I got, well, turn 1 and 2 when I got punted off. So I'm now out of slipstream. The pair up ahead are side by side, however, so they're going to fight. Hopefully I can get myself into that and perhaps gain those 2 positions. You can see the Chevrolet does a bit of a switchback on the Aston Martin through the hairpin. It just brings them ever closer to me, and I was just on the brink of slipstream, but we know that Aston Martin very good in a straight line, and we now find ourselves down in 14th. Coming in through the flying S's now. Let's see if we can gain any time. So the Aston Martin's going to be stuck in the dirty air. I'm going to have the nice clear air, not being in slipstream, and then on the exit of the final corner, do I hit that apex? Not really. I get a bit of a terrible run through there, and I'm now stuck out of slipstream for the straight portions of the track, which are pretty much all of the track coming up towards the final sector now. So I've got the Jaguar of Kiwi behind. I think he's going to want to work together to try and catch these 2 positions up. We find ourselves in a similar situation to what we were at the beginning of the race. There's a lot of cars behind, lurking behind in fact, so if we end up fighting too much, there's definitely going to be more positions to lose. But the Jaguar gives us a bump up the straight. Thank you, Kiwi, for that one. Lovely. So he wants to work together at this point, which is going to be good, because once again we've got 2 further positions about 1.5 seconds up the road. So let's see if we can actually work together here and catch these positions. We're going to be looking or aiming to get into slipstream at some point, but coming up to the straight is not going to be a very good place to get it. So we've got 3 tenths behind with the Jaguar. You can see I'm flashing my hazards down here. I want to stay working together. Once again, in the barrier up ahead, you can just see a load of sparks coming off. That's when you know someone's hit the barrier. The Jaguar definitely could have bumped the back of me there. I can quite very well handle a bump draft coming into that high-speed chicane. I know how to adjust my driving, but he doesn't go for the move. Very, very good. And you can see we've caught up to the Aston Martin. It was 7.5 seconds. Someone goes in the pits, and we go up into 13th. So that fight kind of fizzled out. You can see we dropped off, and I don't know what happened to Kiwi, but he's disappeared off the back. We've got someone around the outside. I think it's GT Sport Penalty. Comes up and gets past me. Very decent move, I suppose. There, I think he came into the pits earlier in the race. He's going to have fresh tyres there. I lose this position further from the Viper. You can see GT Sport Penalty's also overtaken another car, and someone's off with the penalty. So we lost a position to the Viper and gained a position back from somebody crashing. So that is going to be good for us. But that was it till the end of the race. You can see everybody drove off into the distance, and that was it. I came home in 14th. Quite a disappointing race. I did start in 10th, so I guess I only lost 4 positions, but yeah, not a fantastic showing for the Supra, not a fantastic showing for me. Clearly being punted off at the start isn't ideal, isn't the fastest way around the circuit. So let's see, we get 121 points. It's about 100 points away from what I would consider to be a good result. I'm somehow the fastest driver for Toyota though. Don't know how that works out, but I couldn't settle for that. I had to go again. So this is the next lobby. We're once again in 10th, and the qualifier is about to begin. So I think the crucial mistake that I made last time is that I was waiting for Slipstream. I tried my best to get Slipstream, and it kind of backfired because I caught up to the back of them. I was too close at the start of the lap. So coming out of the pits here, there's 3 cars ahead, and they're out of Slipstream. I'm not going to have their Slipstream at the moment, but if I have a good start to the lap, I could be in the Slipstream by sort of the end of one of the straights. So that's what I've gone for. So let's have a look and see how this qualifying lap goes. Once again, 50 meter board, see 4th gear. We get a lot closer to the apex and we get onto the power so much earlier. And we are going to follow the wheel tracks, I think, of the cars up ahead. We're going to see if we can get Slipstream coming through turns 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So we've got quite a few corners consecutively, one after the other. And as long as we have the clear air, it should be pretty good for our case to get the Slipstream off the back of the 2 cars up ahead. I'm pretty sure the blue and white McLaren went for a move on the McLaren currently in P2 at the moment, coming into turn 2, and it's just slowed them both up. And I'm pretty sure they're close enough for Slipstream, so as long as we get a good turn 6, which we want to do anyway because we're on a qualifying lap, lovely, we're up to the power very early, and that is Slipstream. So let's have a look at the speed gain down the straight. So I know going through turn 10, the minimum apex speed is 265 kilometers an hour. Let's see if we can go any higher. We're already at 265, 270 there. Coming up, this is turn 9, turn 10. 271 minimum apex speed. We're so much faster. We are going to have the overspeed coming in towards the hairpin though, braking on the 150 meter board, which is probably slightly too early. We have to let off the brakes very early, roll the car in, but we are still going to have the Slipstream heading up this slip road towards the twisty final sector of turns 12, 13, 14 and 15. So as we turn into turn 12, using the corner marker dab of the brakes. Normally we don't use brakes in clear air, but we got the dirty air washing off the 2 cars ahead, so we're going to have less downforce to contend with. As long as you get a nice run through the final corner, we've got all this Slipstream. Look at this. Through the final corner, don't touch the barrier. Excellent. I don't want to catch up to the back of this McLaren, but if you have a look here, he actually pulls out. It just unleashes me to another Slipstream. 55.3, that's a lot better, and we quickly end the session there. I did another lap and it was a 55.6, so it was not an improvement, but you can see that puts us 4th on the grid. So let's see, have another look at the start, or let's have a look again at a different start, and yeah, once again, in fact, I think that was a worse start than before. Someone ran into the back of us on the previous race, but whoever was behind me that time also got a pretty terrible start. So you can see we're getting mugged again. We've lost 2 positions off the start. Let's see if we can not get punted into turn 1, and we do. Not so great. We run into the back of the Honda thanks to a Mercedes grinding off us, and as we go through that middle there, what is this? 2-second penalty? What are we talking about? That's ridiculous. Don't understand how penalties can be turned on at all whatsoever at the start of the race. So it's quite ridiculous, but you can see we go on the Supreme inside, coming for turn 2. A couple of people dive around the outside. That's where we got caught out last time. We're up into 7th, so we've kind of lost a load of positions but regained them going on the inside. But we're about to lose them all. We got 2 seconds of penalties to serve. Great. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 positions we've lost there. Someone right behind us. We're going to gain another one around the outside, and the Peugeot grinds off the wall, bumps the BMW, run into the back of the Beetle. Beetle gets a bump. Someone else is behind the Beetle and another car there. So we eventually slot in. Oh, we just edged this car out. I tried to give him space. He wasn't halfway alongside. It's quite a bit of an awkward moment there, but there was not really much I could have done. I was trying to keep the Slipstream, the group up ahead. I wish it was just a pair. It's unfortunately a few pairs of people. Beetle goes in quite deep. He's got a 1-second penalty, so he's going to serve that on the next lap. But what's this? 4, 5, 6 cars, including myself in this group here. Almost bumped into the barrier there, but just steering out of the way in time. And we're down in 13th. Oh my goodness, this race. I don't know what it is about this race. I don't think this was for me. I'm not good enough off the start to keep my position, and I just end up getting punted off at turn 1 and turn 2. And yeah, this time I ended up with the penalty. Without the penalty, it probably wouldn't have been so bad. I probably could have stayed in 7th, but the penalty, yeah, just had other ideas. And yeah, that's a bit of a dodgy penalty again. Thankfully, we're seeing less of those dodgy penalties than we were previously, but it's still quite unfortunate that we're seeing them at all, because my race, I would argue, has been significantly disadvantaged thanks to that penalty, shall we say. So, we find ourselves once again in the slipstream of a group of cars up ahead. There's nobody behind. The closest car behind is, no, this is Jester, not Gesture. He was 1.2 seconds behind, but he gets overtaken by somebody. The Beetle now has 3 seconds of penalties. He's barging his way through the Dockland section, just coming in contact with the Jaguar, and it just pushes him wide. I get a bit of oversteer and almost sort of walk sideways into the Jaguar, but the Jaguar sensibly backs out of this move into turn 6. He was not halfway alongside, so smart move there. He's obviously just thought, well, we've got the straight coming up, I'll just slipstream past you. But we have the slipstream off the back of the Nissan. Nissan is a very good car in a straight line, so he also has the slipstream off the Peugeot, so potentially there could be a double move coming up at the hairpin. So they're running side by side. I'm just backing off for now. I'm going to try and get up the inside after turn 10. You can see the Nissan goes wide. I just get the nose up the inside there. He can't close the gap at that point. Peugeot goes to go defensive, but I go up the very, very inside first gear to turn it and stop it right on the apex. 2 for the price of 1, boom, double move done, and it just dispatches us into 9th position, and we have a Mazda Atenza directly behind. I don't think that car is too good, evident by the fact that it took another 8 laps to catch up to another car, and we are going to be in the slipstream, I believe, off the back of turn 6. We just get enough overspeed off the corner to claw ourselves into slipstream range, and we're going to see how much time we can gain. So we were 8 tenths on the exit with a good exit, and we managed to get ourselves into slipstream, and the straight is so long that we're almost going to gain this whole gap back up. So it was 8 tenths, and we're almost going to be good enough to go for a move into the hairpin. Look at that. 8 tenths gain down the straight thanks to slipstream. It just goes to show in qualifying there was definitely very, very quick lap times to be had, and in fact I know that in EMEA top split they were doing mid 53s in qualifying. Absolutely ridiculous. No way could anybody match that on just pure time trial. The slipstream is just that OP. So we managed to stay in 8th for a little while until we got re-overtaken by that same McLaren 650S, and in fact he's brought his Nissan-clad mate into the mix as well, driven by Hook 002 Light. So we've now got a bit of a 3-way fight. It was a 2-way fight, but myself getting past the McLaren, or I potentially dragged the Nissan up to the back of the McLaren when I went past. They've now worked together, and the Supra's tyres are beginning to drop off massively. Look at the tyre wear on the Supra. Back left, almost 50%. Front left, maybe 40%. And then the right-hand sides are a bit better, with perhaps 30 and 35% on the front and the rears, respectively. But it just goes to show how quickly the tyres drop off. And yeah, I was kind of trying to tyre save as well. So it just goes to show if I was stuck in an all-out fight, definitely the tyres could have been much worse off, and in fact there are a significant handful of cars with much worse tyre wear than this Honda. But we get the slipstream off the back of the McLaren, once again going into turn 2, very narrow, trying to go for this move because once again I wanted to be in front. I knew I could set better pace if I was in clear air rather than dirty air, but the McLaren goes right around the outside. It was also it was always going to be difficult to get a move that narrow into turn 2. You can't carry any speed into the corners when you're that narrow, so not really come off there. I'm going to have to make more intelligent decisions in the future. So we're just going to grab the slipstream again. The Nissan tries to pull out for the move, and that car's very good in a straight line, but he's just not got enough steam to get past. So that's the problem when you're in a slipstream train. You can catch up to somebody, pull out to go for the move, but in pulling out, you've lost the slipstream, so you're not able to complete that move. So it ends up in dives happening into the following corner, which we could potentially see here. McLaren goes defensive. I've got nowhere to go but the outside this time, coming in towards the braking zone. We're going to be looking around the outside. No, we're not. We're going to go for the switchback. A little bit of contact on the way through, but nothing major. But I get a bit too much oversteer on the exit, having to select first gear. And the McLaren has the run up the outside. Bit of contact between us. He's got the inside for that slight curve in the road there. Not really a corner at all. In fact, it's not. It's not got a corner number. But it just puts him ahead just enough for me to go, you know what, you can have the outside. You can go for that one. And he just slots in ahead. We almost understeer into the barrier as the back left tyre just surpasses 50% tyre wear there. Have a look at that. Oh my goodness, so difficult. So I'm in the precarious position of attacking and defending as we begin the penultimate lap here. You can see fuel is no issue at all. In fact, fuel is nothing but a burden because it's just weight that you're carrying around. I probably prefer races where you have to fuel up in a pit stop, to be honest, because you can at least run on minimum weight for a lot of the race. Whereas a race like this, you're carrying around almost a quarter of a tank extra for the whole race. Quarter of a tank extra weight that you don't need. But once again, slipstream of the McLaren. We're going to look around the outside of turn 2 this time. It's a bit better than the extreme inside because you can actually carry some speed. But you can see the Supra just wobbles. I can't get any power down through here. And yeah, the Supra's always pretty crap through that section because you've really got to lean on the back tyres. And if the car likes to slide out and oversteer, it's going to do that instead of transfer the power to the road. So we go through turn 6. You can hear the understeer. Oh no, that red paint, whatever they got painted on the road through turn 6 has not got enough grip. And it just understeers. So coming down the straight, you can see we're actually catching up to another car. It's another McLaren up in 7th. He's actually lost a lot of time in the last few laps. You can see he's very close ahead. I bumped the back of the McLaren up ahead to give him a bit of a boost because I'm thinking at this point, look, we can get 7th here. So let's have a go into the braking zone. McLaren up ahead, very deep. He's very wide off the corner. No definition of an apex whatsoever. But he's now firmly in, giving 8th position the slipstream, giving him the tow. So hopefully we can gain maybe 2 positions. It's looking up through this final lap. It's going to be a difficult thing. We could perhaps get one into turn 2 and then one of them into turn 11, but it's also going to be a very tall order to get that first move done, given that the first move will be the guy in 8th who now has slipstream. It also doesn't help them to be bumping the barriers on the exit of all these corners. We're now oversteering through the final corner too, and we've got an Nissan behind to boot. So very difficult situation to find myself in now. The 2 McLarens going side by side up towards turn 1. I wouldn't call that ideal, but the pink McLaren sensibly backs out. Sliding through turn 1, try and get the power down, just bump the wall. I was just following the McLaren. I was like, I hope you do not hit the wall, and he decided that that's what he was going to do. Just loses enough speed to allow the Nissan behind to pull side by side, but he's got the outside for turn 2 and I have the slipstream, so once again not enough steam to get that done. Coming in towards turn 2, just gently on the brakes this time. See if I can stick close to this silver and pink McLaren, because I think his tyres are gone, evident by the amount of sliding going on, and yep, he just slides out. Trying to get that little bit of power down in between turn 4 and 5, and he just oversteers over to the right hand side. A little bit of contact on the way through, but nothing too major. I was going to get that position anyway. On the exit of turn 6, it was crucial to have slipstream. Not going to happen, about 9/10 behind. So that was the end of the race. Look at that, we come home in 8th again. So we didn't quite have the slipstream down the straight. I perhaps could have got 7th if I was in the slipstream, but not good. And I have actually that McLaren behind, the silver and pink, got a 1-minute penalty, which means he didn't use the medium tyre. So he's done 15 laps on the soft. Quite optimistic there to try and get those tyres to last 15 laps. But you can see eventually we got 185 points. Still not great, but I was kind of done with this race, to be honest. I was like, well, the tyre wear is too high and I'm just too bad off the start. I get mugged at the start and then the tyres drop off after about lap 10. There's not really much I could do. But that's the finale of the manufacturer. It was a good season I had. A couple of good results in there. Namely at Interlagos in round 1 and Bathurst in round 4. So overall quite a decent season once again for Toyota. Can't wait for the next one. I don't know, will I choose Toyota again? Who knows? A couple of other manufacturers are catching my eye, but that's what happened with McLaren and I went back to Toyota. So we'll see how that goes. But that's going to round out this one today, so do hit that like button if you enjoyed, and do subscribe if you'd like to see more videos from me. Do leave a comment as well. Questions, comments, constructive criticism as always, very much appreciated. But that's going to be the end of this one today, and that means that is it from me. So once again, I do thank you very much for watching. See you later.